Yondan Sanji Gandang Yamna Yang, Quadan Sanji Li Jang La Bongon, Savala Mikala Sorande, Toksong Roy Lorna. Chula Jer Lama Givi Chinin Rimbochi, Jibadan Jibanam Jishala Kibi, Shang Sarshan Jabson Chawa, Tutsewa Chimbo, Jesus on Shang Jang, the Sur, Kongla Simji, Tambaran Chen, the Jibate, Kola Shang Sarlo. Kangla no bai ji jang dem derwa dewen yongne de la jobs che to some demore chanda chi jin chin yar zong me hong shi wer je la so sen chen ton la nyer to da zona tamban ji nim to ar de so. All right. Hello everyone. Thank you for coming again to today's teachings. First of all, take a moment and correct your motivation. Once you correct your motivation, then listen carefully to the teachings without distractions. And as you know, today the topic, the Bodhisattva's Garland of Gems, written by the great master, Indian master Atisha, is an ongoing teaching topic for this year. So I'm going to pick up where I left off last class. And if you are joining this group of teachings for the first time, that is also just fine. And hopefully you can come to the remaining teachings over the next few months. And also you can watch the previous class on this topic on YouTube if you weren't here last class. So this is the second teaching of on the Bodhisattva's Garland of Gem. So in the last class, we talked about Atisha's life story. So Atisha was invited to Tibet because, as I mentioned last time, at that time in Tibet, the Dharma teachings was in decline, right? And there were lots of problems and misunderstanding between practice, the Hinayana and Vajrayana teachings. Therefore, Atisha was invited to revive the correcting teachings. Generally, like when you think about Hinayana and Vajrayana teachings, and if you really don't know the meaning of teachings correctly, then they seem to very contradict each other. For example, the Hinayana teachings say that samsara is totally suffering. Attachment is very negative. And there is no genuine happiness as long as you return in the samsara by negative karma. So therefore, you need to abandon everything, and therefore you need to practice renunciation, right? According to Hinayana's teaching. But according to the Vajrayana teaching, samsara is pure land, There is no such thing as attachment. Attachment is great bliss. So you see the way they teach, the way, you practice. If you really don't understand the meaning of teachings correctly, then they are very to contradict each other. It's like, when you see poison ivy, when you walk on the woods, you can see poison ivy. The Hinayanas say, oh, it's so bad. Don't touch it, even don't go near it, right? Vajrayana would say, it's no problem. There is no such thing as a poison. You can touch it, you can drink it, you can use it, you can transform into it medicine like that, right? So you see, the Hinayana practitioners need to sort of reject everything, meaning can't have anything. But Vajrayana practitioners can have everything, accept everything. So one is kind of like, one is too narrow and the other is too open. It looks like they're very, how do I say, contradictory to each other if you don't understand the meaning of the teachings correctly. So about the Hinayana teachings, there are two fundamental misunderstandings here. First of all, people think that according to Hinayana's teaching, samsara is totally suffering. But samsara itself is not suffering. If you think samsara itself is suffering, that's misunderstanding. But sometimes how we relate it to samsara is wrong. How we act is wrong. Therefore, it makes us suffer. But that doesn't mean the nature of samsara is suffering. Some Christian people say that, oh, Buddhism is bad. They believe samsara is totally suffering. Therefore, they deny samsara, ignore samsara. They don't care, people who are suffering in samsara. That's not true at all. That is totally misunderstanding. So first of all, the first misunderstanding is, according to Hinayana's teaching, you believe that samsara is totally suffering. They believe that that's totally misunderstanding. Second of all, according to Hinayana teachings, you need to practice the renunciation. Practice renunciation also, doesn't mean that you have to give up everything. But again, people think very often like, practice and renunciation means you need to give things away. You can't have anything. Because if you have a lot of things, then people think, oh, your attachment increase because you have so many things and you attach to all of that, and then your attachment increase. So therefore you have to practice renunciation. But that also is very, very wrong, misunderstanding. Once again, renunciation is about what is happening in your mind and how you relate it to your samsaric experience. Renunciation is about wholeheartedly pursuing the Dharma. So whether you have 100 statue of Buddha or just one picture, it doesn't matter. What matters is if your mind is turned towards the Dharma. So as I said, if you don't understand the meaning of like teachings, you know, Vajrayana, whether Vajrayana teachings or Mahayana teachings, then they are totally different things, contradict. So the correct understanding of the teachings is to have a sense of clarity in your mind. And then you genuinely appreciate the teachings if you have a sense of clarity, wisdom. Then you appreciate the teachings, whether Mahayana, Vajrayana, Hinayana teachings. And that appreciation comes down to how much you really understand the meaning of suffering. It doesn't mean that you have to suffer yourself in order to practice the genuine renunciation. As long as you understand what is the meaning of suffering, then you will understand how to practice renunciation. Then you don't have to give up everything, or, you know, you can have everything. And you don't have to suffer yourself in order to understand how to practice the renunciation. But you need an understanding of the reality of suffering, the cause of suffering, and what makes you suffer. So it's just understanding these things. You don't have to be very sad and make yourself suffer in order to practice whatever Hinayana teachings or whatever. But just examining the reality of suffering is important, because the more you examine, the more you understand the reality of samsara. Then appreciation of the teachings will increase by itself. Then your motivation will be very genuine. And then your practice and your commitment and willingness to practice Dharma will be increased by itself, based on understand the correct, understand the reality of suffering, the reality of samsara. Then the practice, the willingness to practice Dharma will increase by itself. As that increase, then your wisdom, then your capacity, then your clarity, all of this will naturally develop. That is the true meaning of practicing Dharma. Without examining the reality of suffering, then there is a lack of motivation to practice Dharma. Without examining the reality of, for example, renunciation, then there is a lack of true understanding of attachment and other negative emotions and unhappiness. So through completely, thoroughly examining and practicing, you will develop some sort of realization, even the intellectual level of understanding. And you will have, when you will have enough sort of understanding to be stable and not misunderstand the seeming contradiction in these teachings, then you will be very safe. And your mind very stable, no matter what kind of path you take, whether Hinayana path, whether Vajrayana path, you will be very safe. You understand how to practice these teachings harmoniously. Otherwise, for example, there are three vows, right? The external vows of Hinayana, internal vows of Mahayana, and then we have the secret samaya of Vajrayana. Think about these vows, especially if you don't understand the Hinayana and Vajrayana vows correctly, then they seem totally contradictory. That's why at that time in Tibet, these two practices were confusing people. That's why the Dharma was declined at that time. And that's why the monks took the Hinayana vows, the yogis took the Vajrayana vows. They both were not harmony each other because they think they're contradicted. That's why Atisha, Indian master, great master Atisha, went to Tibet and clarified these confusions. That's not, he said, that's not the problem of Vajrayana and Hinayana. That's the practitioner's problem. They don't know how to practice these things harmoniously. So if you think like that, I think both the Hinayana and Vajrayana paths could be very dangerous if you don't understand these teachings properly and correctly. People think, oh, Vajrayana is very secret teachings, and if you don't understand correctly, then it will be very dangerous. But I think Hinayana was the same thing. But then Mahayana, of course, is good for everyone, very suitable, even for non-Buddhist people. It's very comfortable, very simple, but very profound. It's about how to become a good person, practice bodhicitta, how to become a compassionate person. It's a very safe and genuine practice. Therefore, once Atisha arrived in Tibet, he began the teachings on the practice bodhicitta. Basically, he started to teach Mahayana using the mind training teachings. That's why this Mahayana teachings really focus on how to train your mind. Everybody understand that, right? Everybody understand, no matter what kind of religion, practice, you practice, whether you practice Buddhism, whether you practice different religion, whether you are just non-believer, whatever, you acknowledge that you have negative emotions. No proof. You have a problem with your mind. You have a problem, lots of problems in your life because of how you act is wrong. So everybody really sort of understand they need to subdue their mind. So therefore, the Mahayana teachings, the mind training teachings, very, very important. And when the Atisha, when we think about this teaching, the Atisha, the main point of this teaching is basically from Shantandeva's Bodhicharya Avatara. So this teaching is about how to meditate on bodhicitta, which is about kind mind. I mean, bodhicitta is much more than a kind mind, but in summary, like we could say, bodhicitta is about kind mind. So, therefore, what I'm saying this because why Atisha went to Tibet, you have to understand that, right? So if we follow Atisha's advice and practice the teachings, we will be able to understand the difference between these teachings. We will be able to become a disciple of Atisha, even though we have not had the fortune to meet him, but we will be able to receive his blessings. So Atisha went to Tibet and he started teaching on refuge, three jewels, and bodhicitta. That's it. So people who follow Atisha's teachings are called the Kadamba. Kadamba, Ka means like teachings of Buddha, Dam means instructions. So he actually used the Lord Buddha's teaching, how to train people's mind. So there are four traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. They all actually adopted these mind training teachings from the Kadamba tradition. So that's that. Now, today, the stanza from the Bodhisattva's Garland of GM is, you should prepare your text. If you have the root text, you should look at that. Otherwise, difficult to memorize all of these teachings. So you have to understand these teachings based on the root text, okay? Once you memorize the root text, then you think, then you investigate. Okay, what this means? What is this root text? The first line means. Then you think, investigate, and then you put into your practice. That's how you do it. Otherwise, you receive teachings today and then you forget tomorrow. What's the point? So today is the root text. It says, "Tetsam tamchip nampang xiang, dibla nantan jisya." That means abandon all doubts. Cherish persistent practice. That's the first stanza, okay? So here, Atisha, it says, abandon all doubts, right? We have full of hesitations, doubts in our mind. But how do we do this? Abandon all doubts. When we learn more, we're able to abandon doubts. The more you study the Dharma, the deeper you will learn, and then the fewer doubts you will have. Right? For example, when you think about practicing renunciation, usually people think, oh, I can't have this because I have attachment to this, so I should give away. And then you give away. Eventually you have doubts. I can't do this. If you don't know exactly, right? So the correct way to abandon all your doubts is to begin with uncertainty. You begin with hesitations, very important. Whenever you do the first time, you don't accept right away, even though without understanding what you're doing. That's not good, right? Whatever you start, hey, let's think about renunciation, practice renunciation. What does that mean? And that doesn't seem good, so you have hesitations, and then you study, you learn, examine it, all of that. So you begin with uncertainty, you begin with doubts, you begin with hesitations, because when there is uncertainty, you feel uncomfortable, right? Therefore, you want to find out the truth. So then that helps you to, you start with investigation. You just don't accept because of this master say, or that, Buddha said so, right? So you make sure that something that you want to practice in your life, you make sure that you're comfortable with it. But if you don't comfortable, then you start to think about it, investigate. And then eventually you end up with complete certainty and confidence. That's how you practice Buddhism. And that is how you, how do I say, abandon all your doubts, hesitations. But the problem is, of course, you don't have you don't have enough investigation, or sometimes people don't know how to investigate something that they are uncomfortable with. So you feel if you don't enough sort of investigation, then you feel you are certain at first. I don't need to investigate. That's good. But then end up in doubts and hesitations after some time. So when you are not sure of what you are doing in meditation, it brings a lot of hesitations, right? Like, am I meditating correctly? Do I have it wrong? So you are always sort of questioning what you are supposed to be doing. So therefore, you need to gain confidence that the practice you are doing is valid, is correct and comfortable. Therefore, Atisha says here, abandon all doubts. So this is important to understand if you want to practice Buddhism. I always say this, right? For example, when you take the refuge vows, first you have to investigate it. That's how you can be free from doubts about the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, three jewels. You start to think, what does it mean, take refuge vow? Who is Buddha? What is Dharma? What is Sangha? What is the benefit of taking refuge vows? All of that, you have to first understand all of that. Once you understand, you are comfortable, then you take refuge vows. In order to practice Buddhism, what is the first step? Or, become a Buddhist. The first step is taking refuge vows. Because Buddhism is Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. That's all. So if you don't know what Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, then you are not ready to take refuge vows. So you start to think about it, you start to investigate, and that means you have to believe in the three jewels before you take refuge vows. Oh, Buddha makes sense, Dharma makes sense, Sangha. I like these things. I understand. If you don't believe, then don't believe in three jewels, then even though you take refuge vows, it means nothing. But your belief doesn't mean that you believe in something that you can't really know or beyond your capacity, or you are unsure about it. You just blindly say, I have no idea what that actually means, but I believe it. I don't know actually, what does taking refuge vows, but I want to practice Buddhism, so then I should take it. That's not how you do it. That's not how you practice Buddhism. That's not how you abandon all doubts. Belief means believe in something that is a fact, something that is truth. Then you believe it. Then it will work. So taking refuge in making a clear decision about what your principal path is. So you clarify to yourself what direction you are taking in this life. That's very important. It's not just like, you just play and then for a few months, and then you just do something else. Not like that. Once you take refuge vows, you become a Buddhist. That means you are practice Buddhism rest of your life. So abandon all your doubts. This eliminates the confusion arising from uncertainty about your spiritual path, right? I mean, this abandon all doubts is not only about spiritual teachings, but especially as long as we're talking about Atisha's advice. So this is very important. When there are lots of new people, I have, want to take refuge vows. I just want to let you know that you just can't take refuge vows without understanding that you just can't. I mean, it's just not good for you. A long time ago, a person took refuge vows, and after about a year, this person talked to me about wanting to give up the refuge vows. Doesn't make any sense. That will happen when you do things without investigating, and you just take it way before you are ready. So it's important to educate yourself and understand the truth before you take any action. Basically, Atisha is saying that. Give us advice. Whatever you want. First, you should educate yourself so that you will be very certain. And then you understand the truth. Then you can act, then you practice, then everything will work. Because when your mind is free from doubt and free from hesitations, then whatever you wish can be achieved. So you should always investigate and find out the truth. So first, you need to clarify your doubts through learning and practice. Therefore, again, this root text is very important. Abandon all your doubts. When you abandon all your doubts, then what? Okay. I investigate, everything, the basic teachings of Buddha, or about the refuge vows, all of that, right? Then what? Then it says here, cherish persistent practice. What is practice that we need to cherish? There is no practice other than mind training. Practice in Dharma is difficult, especially in the beginning, right? Because to develop experience and realization through first hearing, contemplating, and meditating requires a lot of effort and diligence and needs persistent practice. That's why practice Dharma is not easy. Without effort and without diligence, nothing can be complete, achieved, So therefore, practice in Dharma is difficult, very, very difficult. But it is absolutely not beyond our capacity. So in order to be able to meditate on mind training or Dharma, first need to hear the teachings and then think about it, means investigate, examine the teachings, then understand completely the teachings, the meaning of teachings, then you practice, put them into practice. That's absolutely necessary and important. That is how you practice Dharma, through take these three stages. Without these three, you can practice. First, hearing the Dharma, then contemplating on that, then practice. That's how you abandon all your doubts. That's how you practice Dharma. Okay? That's absolutely necessary. Otherwise, you are just pretending to meditate. Just sitting there without really knowing what you are doing. It doesn't take you very far. Change your mind. You develop more doubts, hesitations. You don't have a stable confidence and faith in your mind, a devotion in your mind, because you don't know what you're doing. Without understanding, without contemplating. So in this three things, very important. Otherwise, you are, will not go very far. So here, cherish persistent practice means at the beginning, you have to be very diligent until your mindfulness and awareness come naturally. Once they come naturally, you always be mindful, be aware, then you kind of become effortless, practice Dharma easy. And if you don't cherish persistence practice, when you have the opportunity, then you will not develop anything, even when you received a lot of teachings. Usually in our day-to-day life, we usually just think about outwardly concerns every single day, right? For example, how to become famous, how to become rich. We every single day think about that, nothing else, just how do I do this? How do I increase this? How do I become famous? How I can make more. think of that all the time, every single day. That's why practice Dharma is difficult. The result of thinking like that is then our practice will be harder and harder, and we will be further and further from enlightenment. Our minds will become more and more negative, right? You attach to so many things. You have lots of desire. You have lots of anger. You have lots of jealous. You develop all these things every single day. That's why practice Dharma is difficult. If we become attached to many things, we get more caught up in samsara. And then what happens is our mind will not be free. And that brings a lot of unhappiness into our daily life. Then people say, oh, samsara is suffering, samsara is terrible. No, samsara is not. We develop, we create all these unnecessary negative emotions every single day. And then our mind become more and more negative. The way we think, the way we believe. Then unhappiness exists in our life every single day. We go through this very difficult life. I mean, that's the truth, whether you like or not. That's the truth. If you say, I don't have any negative emotions, that's a lie. That's not true. Until you reach the attain enlightenment. So that's why practice Dharma is important. Now, in order to keep persistent practice, you have to recognize the benefits of meditation, right? Something that you will think over and over again, and that makes you meditate more and more. You need that kind of enthusiasm. Meditation is necessary because it is the most effective way to eliminate all this, what do you call it, disturbing negative emotions. Nothing else, right? In order to eliminate all this negative emotions, you can't take, anything like drug, whatever. It doesn't work. So it's only meditation. So that's why I always say, please meditate as much as you can. Go on a retreat to practice, make time for meditation. So meditation is, if you really want to eliminate all these negative emotions, that's the only way. Meditation is similar to familiarization, right? But I think we don't have enough diligence and enthusiasm. For that reason, here Atisha encourages everyone to practice meditation, right? So it's a cherish, persistent practice. That is referring to meditation. So Atisha's point is that if you want to be able to do the meditation, you need, basically he's saying, like, you need to check your mind instantly and make your mind stronger and stronger through meditation. So keep persistent practice really depends on your motivation, depends on your enthusiasm and your diligence. Keep persistent practice also depends on having a spiritual teacher nearby who help you and keep your motivation strong keep persistent practice also depends on the company that you have. The people around you should be supportive of your practice. That's why having a spiritual community, that's why the Sangha or having a good friend is important. That's why we need a good Sangha, so that people get together and support each other and encourage each other to practice meditation. Rather like, compete each other or jealous each other. That's not how you do it. The Buddhist Sangha means Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Sangha is necessary because it helps to each other, support each other, encourage each other to practice meditation. That's why Sangha needed. Then you keep the persistent practice because your friend help you to give you the great advice and encourages you and give you really good motivation to practice Dharma. So keep persistent practice also depends on recognizing, as I said, the suffering of samsara, suffering of others, right? Seeing that, understanding that can strengthen your motivation, right? So that you will be able to practice diligently. Oh, that person is suffering. This person is going very through difficult hardship or life. So therefore, the best method is to practice meditation. Okay, so that's the first line. Now the next stanza, Nyingma Lineage. That means thoroughly abandon sleep, mental dullness, and laziness, and always make effort with perseverance. Now, here, how to abandon obstacles, right? First, when you meditate, you have lots of obstacles. So that's why Atisha said, now, once you meditate, you expect, there will, lots of obstacles arise in your meditation. So how to abandon obstacles that arise when you meditate, such as falling asleep, dullness, and laziness. These are very common obstacles because, as a beginner practitioner, if you try to practice for a while, then you see these obstacles will arise. When you meditate for a while, your mind will sort of sink into unclear understanding, which is dullness or foggy mind. Foggy mind is more subtle type of mental darkness because it brings you to sleep, which is an obstacle to your meditation. Because when you meditate, you close your eyes, you feel very comfortable, then you don't want to open your eyes, then you lose your, whatever you're doing in your meditation, it's very unclear, very, kind of like foggy, you can't see it. That's obstacle, first obstacle. And then there is, of course, another obstacle, which is laziness. And then people complain, I don't have time to meditate. That's not true. You can make time for meditation, but you're lazy. So you feel you don't want to practice. You just mentally, physically exhausted, whatever, laziness. Although laziness is not actually a form of mental dullness. Shantideva describes laziness and seventh chapter of the Way of Bodhisattva, the Bodhi Charya Avatar. There are three types of laziness. Probably you know, right? I'm not going to talk about them in here detail. If you want to know about it, the three types, you can read Way of the Bodhisattva. But here I would like to give the quotation. I give you quote a beautiful verse from Shantideva. That is, Maitrila Tenin Dungarcho Cheli Dars, Tundahini Kavi Montis in Malo. It's beautiful. That means by depending on the human boat, you cross the great river of suffering. Since this boat will be difficult to find again, while you have it, don't be lazy. So this verse, again, by depending on the human boat, you cross the great ocean of suffering or river of suffering. Since this boat will be difficult to find again, while you have it, don't be lazy. Okay, this verse, memorize this verse, beautiful. This verse tells what you can do with this human body. You can liberate yourself from suffering if you are not a lazy person. And basically, Shantideva is talking that. This precious human life, with this precious human body, you can liberate yourself from suffering if you are not lazy person. That's it. And another obstacle is, of course, destructiveness, right? When you meditate, your mind restless sometimes, right? There are a lot of distractions. So you cannot focus. That means, you can focus on your meditation. So it happens all the time, either this distractiveness or dullness or laziness. These are major obstacles for Dharma practitioners. So, as you know, there are actually a lot of different kinds of obstacles when you practice the Dharma. But if you take care of these actually 2 or 3 obstacles, which is the obstacle, the dullness, distractiveness, and laziness, then you will take care of almost every obstacles. So I have given teaching on how to abandon these obstacles. I think it's called Essential Stages of Meditation. So if you want to listen to them, they're on the YouTube channel. So we have to, I'm not going to talk about how to abandon antidote, when your mind is foggy or dullness or disturbed. If you want to watch this, then you will know. So we have to abandon the defects of these obstacles, destructiveness, dullness, and laziness, right? And also for the meditation, it is very important to make a commitment to practice Dharma in your mind. Otherwise, you will not, you will easily lose your intention to practice Dharma. And without a commitment, you will become a lazy person. Therefore, a strong commitment helps you to maintain your practice. If you make a strong commitment and then you break that commitment, you feel guilty. You should feel very guilty. And then make a recommitment, no problem. If you can't keep the commitment all the time, that's okay. But then you should make another commitment and feel guilty about it. You break the commitment. So actually, if you have a good understanding of the essence of the practice that you're doing, then you can actually keep your commitment without a break, you know. So that will help you make a commitment. It's very important. The first time, for example, the 37 stages group, make a strong commitment and practice every day this and then this much and then finish on this time. Like you make a commitment that therefore you finished on time. So like that, for example, like if you make a commitment every day, like, you know, whatever the difficult when you practice, laziness or whatever, you should make a commitment and that will help you. And Atisha also says, always make effort with perseverance. Always make effort with the perseverance. This is very important to understand again. Persevering has a different meaning according to Shantadewa. It means a strong intention or great energy that is based on understanding the benefits of doing something positive, like helping others, like meditate for yourself. Strong intention. A strong intention also based on a good understanding, right? Good understanding, for example, the meaning of renunciation, practice renunciation. So you're not going to give up until you have achieved your goal. Strong intention. If you have a strong intention, that is based on good understanding, completely what you're doing about the positive meditation, whatever, then you're not going to give up. So that helps you keep, you know, meditation, you know, helps be very diligent person. And second, you know, persevering is also means being constant or persistent. Your continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties. For example, you work out for 2 hours each day to lose weight. It is based on self-confidence, right? Self-believing. Oh, I can do this. I have this capacity. So you know that you will be able to do it, and you see the benefit it will bring to your health and well-being. If you know it, if you believe in yourself, I can do this. I want to work out. I want to exercise. That will help me this and this. You can actually see it based on good understanding that keeps you, you know, persistent, continued. You know, you want to go every day and exercise, and you believe yourself, and that self-confidence, you know, it will bring you your health and well-being. And perseverance is also means delight. Delight, for example, or joy. For example, when you practice bodhicitta or mind training is about bodhicitta, right? So when you practice bodhicitta and think about the benefits of bodhicitta, it can definitely give you feeling of great joy and great happiness. I mean, we all know that. When you, as soon as you practice bodhicitta, your selfish mind, self-centered mind goes down. As it goes down, you can see your capacity. You can see the beauty of your mind, joy, happiness, the feeling, you have that kind of feeling. You can see, as soon as you practice bodhicitta, you can see the meaning of life. So that gives you great joy, great happiness. So you can take that joy in what you're doing, and with that, then you can do it continuously, enthusiastically, right? So persevering is delight, you know. It's like kind of pleasure, you know, something that you're doing. If you see it based on good understanding, then you feel like great joy, meaning, you know, you will see like, oh, this is so meaningful, something that is not meaningless. So I want to develop, I want to develop my capacity more and more through this kind of activities, meditations. Then you can do it very continuously and diligently. I mean, we're talking about how to become a diligent person. And lastly, Shantadeva also mentioned that persevering means being ready to accept. For example, you have to accept that eliminating all this negative emotion is not easy. But you, at the same time, you don't have to lose your courage or confidence, because absolutely it's not beyond your capacity. But if you expect too much, as soon as you start meditating, you feel like you expect that you can eliminate all negative emotion. Doesn't work that way. It doesn't function that way. So therefore, you have to accept, oh, this attachment, eliminate attachment is not easy, but I will do it over the time. Also, you have to accept that taking the spiritual path is going to be very long journey, maybe more than this lifetime. Very long journey with also a lot of obstacles. Like you take a long journey, that road is so bumpy and not smooth, and you sometimes you feel like it's so difficult to take on this journey, and I want to give up. But no, I think I can just keep going as long as there is a path. No matter what the path is, difficult or easy, I just want to take it. So it'd be okay if you encounter some obstacles, as long as you see the end of this journey, the benefit of taking this journey, then you're never going to quit. So that means also you accept that this journey is very long with lots of obstacles. That helps you to be diligent, you know. And you also have to accept that hardships are going to be there. Not easy. When you read about, the great masters' stories and biographies, how difficult that they took, hardship with their, practice and everything, right? So same thing. But at the same time, you have to believe in yourself, in your capacity, and have self-confidence. That's what we say in Tibet, self-confidence. You have to believe, not like pride and arrogance, but self-confidence with a sense of humbleness, and so that you can do it no matter how difficult it is, right? So that's that. You see, what time? Okay. Atisha gives us very important points today. Abandon sleep, abandon mental dullness, and abandon laziness. If you really want to practice Buddhism, or it doesn't matter what kind of practice you do, if you want to become a good practitioner, you need to abandon all of this. And always make effort with perseverance. Now, if you do that, then you will be able to achieve so-called enlightenment or liberation. That's the result of this abandonment, like abandon sleep. Abandon sleep doesn't mean like short sleep at nighttime, not like that. During the meditation, sometimes you're physically, mentally tired, then obstacle arise. So at that point, I'm very sleepy. I just can't meditate, and then just give up the meditation. That's the obstacle. Then you can't keep your meditation. You do that today, and then same thing will happen tomorrow, and then after next. So always, that's how we develop this habit, right? So today you take easy, and then tomorrow you want to do that too, because the selfish mind want to do that. So no matter what difficult it is, never give up. And also accept that difficult practice Dharma is difficult. Okay? So please keep these teachings in your mind, otherwise there is no benefit to receiving these teachings. I'm going to stop there, and then we'll continue to on this teaching next time. So now we have a few minutes. We're going to meditate. Meditation is the most important. So meditate on concentration. Meaning, focus on the mind continuously. I have mind, you have mind, she has a mind, he has a mind. Everybody has a mind, right? So focus on your mind without forgetting it, which is sometimes they call awareness, right? So first, what you need to do first when you meditate, first, totally relax your whole body. And then try to bring your awareness and liberate your thoughts. That means, basically, that means try to empty your mind completely. Meaning, empty your mind, meaning there is no thoughts whatsoever in your mind. Can you do that? I don't know. Empty your mind. You should try it. Right now, for example, you have a lot of different thoughts in your mind about your past actions, right? About your memories, and then also about your future dreams, and etc. So you have all these thoughts and memories and images in your mind, right? But when you try to meditate on awareness, basically you have to make your mind completely empty, which means there is no single thought that exists in your mind. That is basically like what meditation means. So try to let go of all these thoughts and at the same time focus on self-awareness. That is your mind. What is mind? Full of thoughts, thinking about past and then present and the future. This is not mind. The original mind is empty. At the same time, self-awareness. That is the definition of mind. That kind of mind you have, I have, everybody. But if you think, this is full of thoughts and images and memories, this is my mind, you are wrong. That's your duality, right? Dualistic mind. So in this way, meditation, your mind, your mind completely empty. At the same time, it has a capacity to understand. It has a capacity to be aware everything that is going on around you, inside in yourself. That is mind. Amazing, right? But at the same time, we never pay attention enough to this precious mind that we always have, but we just ignore it. We just complain. We just focus on outside and bring things in and develop that habitual, habit in the negative, sometimes with the negative karma, whatever you say. We just focus on everything on outside of this. Never enough focus, enough attention to this unbelievable, like the precious jewel that we have within since you born. So anyway, so if you meditate this way, in this way, your meditation can help you to discover the total, the genuine inner peace that has, that peace is not just relaxation, not just like, happy, but there is a like total inner extraordinary, like inner peace. You never experienced without this meditation. And then this meditation can help you to discover that, I don't know how to explain it. It's just total inner peace. And then that is the best way to develop discipline. What is meditation? Meditation is basically develop self-discipline. You take lots of different vows, Hinayana vows. There are lots of rules. Then you take the Vajrayana vows. There are lots of rules. You think that I am developing my discipline. That's not really discipline. Hinayana say, hey, don't touch this. If you are a woman, don't touch a man. If you are a man, don't touch a woman. That based on attachment. Oh, I'm disciplining myself like that. That's not discipline, actually. But when you have this kind of inner peace, that's totally, your mind is empty. At the same time, there's like beautiful awareness. That is the genuine discipline. Because that discipline is combined with great awareness and emptiness. That is the real meaning of discipline. So that's how you do it. I don't know, you can or cannot. So if you can make your mind completely empty, then that's okay. That's okay. You have to accept, I can't do this, but I will. So it's basically, I'm saying you should empty your garbage can. Then you have more room. But if you can't completely empty your mind, then just looking at the mind gently and try to have less thoughts, and then just to relax on that. That's how you do it for the beginner. So 2 steps. Relax completely your body. Then look sort of inwardly, not outwardly, inwardly. And then try to empty your mind. Just to try to live in this present moment. Then just, whether you can or cannot, whether you are making empty your mind completely or not, because there is awareness. So just do that, try. If you can't, then just turn inwardly and focus on your mind. And if lots of thoughts arise, just don't follow them and just relax. Try to relax on your mind, meaning try to live this present moment. Okay, 5 minutes, please. Okay, now you can say the closing prayers.
May I attain in each and every life the sublime virtues of existence and peace. May I pursue the flawless mindset of altruism, working for the welfare of others on a vast scale. Through this very merit of mine, may every single sentient being eliminate all forms of negativity and practice virtue forevermore. May supreme precious bodhicitta take birth where it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it never wane, but continue to grow forevermore. For as long as space exists, for as long as beings endure, until then, may I too remain to dispel the suffering of all beings. May I in all my lives, no matter where I am born, obtain the 7 qualities of the upper realms of existence. May I meet the Dharma immediately after taking birth and have the freedom to practice perfectly. May I please the sublime gurus and day and night dedicate myself to the Dharma. By realizing the Dharma and practicing its innermost essence, may I cross the ocean of conditioned existence in this very life. May I teach the sublime Dharma perfectly and never become weary and tired of benefiting others in samsara. By my own impartial and all-encompassing activities to benefit others, may all attain enlightenment together. Creed. In the divine mandala, where all that appears and exists is utterly pure, you, the sovereign of all the Buddha families and teacher of tantras, mature and liberate the 3 gates into their Vajra nature. Vajra king may you ever remain. Within the Vajra body, you reveal the mandala of the great bliss of the indestructible 3 secrets. Most supreme of all, Lord of the Vajra transmission, Vajra master, may you remain for 100 eons. Through the effortless path, you directly reveal unchanging self-awareness, the basic space of great bliss. Caring for the profound key instructions of perfection, glorious Guru, may you remain until the end of existence. Precious successor to the Gurus of the 3 lineages, may you remain throughout the 3 times in Vajra form, forever hoisting the great banner of the Dharma of the 3 lineages throughout the 3 realms.
All right, thank you.